Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Charlie Payne, Sierra Rick Now podcast. Welcome back to this week's episode of Sierra Rick Now. I hope everything is going well on your holiday plans as you're planning your trips with family and friends and into the mountains. I know across the Sierra, the snow season has not been what you hope for, and the snow is only up high and being made by machines. But there's still lots of exploring to do. If you haven't followed us the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of major updates in our family's life. We've moved to the state of Washington, Pacific Northwest, and we've done a couple of videos now from our new home in Mount Vernon, Washington. Today, it'll be kind of a fun episode. I'm going to talk about my first 30 days in Washington and kind of compare it to what I'm used to in the Sierra to kind of give you a sneak peek of maybe the life I'm going to be enjoying up here, some of the adventures we're going to be sharing in the future as we join the new Authentic Mountains Network and share just kind of the authentic feel of mountain towns, mountain culture, mountain adventure in the on trails, and we'll be sharing not only the Cascades but the Sierra along the way as well. So stick around today. It's all a personal episode. I want to share some highlights of things I've seen so far compared to the Lake Tahoe region where I'm from, some of the things that we've seen to this date. And it's only a month, so we got a lot to cover. So welcome to the show again today. Sierra Rec is going to be a fun adventure this year. We have a lot still to share in Sierra. I've been talking to quite a few different folks at the ski resorts, getting them on the channel here in the next couple of months to share ski highlights. Talk to Ghost Adventure Company today, hoping to get them on the show in the Sierra. But we're still going to be telling Sierra stories. But today, make it a little personal reflection. Okay, we've moved to Washington. Mount Vernon, Washington is about a little over an hour north of Seattle. We're right at the back door or the front corridor of the North Cascade National Park, right up the highway. It's about a 45-minute drive from me, kind of similar for me leaving my home in the Carson Valley and driving to Desolation Wilderness. That's kind of the feel I get. Where Yosemite was a little further away. Yosemite for me would be like driving the Rainier from here now. So if I was driving to Rainier National Park, that would be kind of my Yosemite focal region. I'm actually much closer to the coastal range on the west side of the range, so I'm seeing a whole different environment with the rain and weather patterns and just what I can get into. So to share a funny story, just to kind of get the show started off, one of our favorite topics to talk about this time of year, and believe it or not, one of the most searched topics I have online is Christmas tree hunting. I am a Griswold, if you will. I have gone out and get Christmas trees from the forest every year since I was a little tyke. Living in Central Oregon in the Cascades, my dad would come home and we'd take us to the mountains with hot cocoa and sandwiches for the day, and we'd go find our Christmas trees. And many of our friends would come with us, and sometimes our family from California would come up and get trees. But we were always getting Christmas trees. And when I moved to Idaho, I took friends out for the very first time getting their Christmas tree hunt. That was one of the worst experiences probably I ever had because it took us all day to find one tree. And this trip this week was very similar to that in the fact that I didn't have any clue where I was going for Christmas trees. And I personally like kind of a noble fir Christmas tree. They're all over the Sierra. They were easy to find in the Sierra for me. I used to go up Highway 4 and quickly get my tree. At 9 a.m. I'd be done by noon every year with our family. You could go up into Alpine County a lot of times and find those same trees. But this year, moving to Washington, I had no time to scout. I had no idea where to go. So we said, hey, we're going to head out with my new grandson. My boy, he loves going out. My oldest boy and his wife love getting Christmas trees, so they love going out and doing that too. And it's kind of tradition. So we're a week late. Usually do it Thanksgiving weekend, and I thought, hey, we're gonna head into Washington. We're gonna figure this out, right? We've been in the mountains a long time. We're gonna figure this out. And I should have known because I've been hiking a couple times already, and I know that everywhere off the trail looks soaked. It's got moss, it's ferns, it's bush. It's not easy off trail walking at all. It's green and there are trees everywhere. So I thought, well, we might be able to find some stuff in this area. But it was raining and we knew we were going to get soaking wet. So there was no way to prepare for the wet that we dealt with on this trip. But just to share a funny story, right? So we head up into the Mount Baker Recreation area, which again is about a 40-minute drive for us up in the mountains. We've got our saws, we got our weather gear, and we got the most positive attitude going. We're gonna do this. And we head up in the Mount Baker Recreation Area, which is part of the Mount Baker. I'm gonna say this wrong. Sonomish, I think it's Sonomish, a national forest. Correct me if we're wrong. Don't butcher me yet. Wash it out and learn. And we're at the national forest, and we do this. What's funny stories. My son now tells me that some of his coworkers kind of laughed at him, going, "Yeah, good luck with that, right?" And we should have known. So we pull off the road, and first time we park in this area where guys are shooting their guns on one ridge, and we walk the other side. I'm talking, I'm not 15 steps into the woods and I am drenched through all my clothes. I mean, I am drenched. Like I got a bathtub. My shoes are wet, my pants are soaked. My top stayed a little warm. I had better layers on top and I had a raincoat on, but I am literally soaked. But it didn't break me at all. We crawled through trees and mossy logs, and we'd found a batch of maybe trees, but nothing. They're all really close together. No tree that you could really harvest out of that region. And we looked for 2, maybe 3 hours, stopping the car. Hey, this looks promising. Go down this ditch. Everything's so wet, so slippery. It's pouring down rain. We found these old logging roads that we could walk and at least be out of the bush, but the ground has moss and like every step is soaking in and over the sole in the boot. I didn't wear my waterproof shoes. Mistake. I'm learning Washington. I'll get there, I promise. And so, long story short, we looked and searched for 3 hours. We didn't find anything. And we got wet and we laughed and we said, okay, I think this year is a tree farm. Let's go get a U-pick tree farm. They're open this week. We have one, a Big Lake tree farm out here in Big Lake, which is only a couple miles from our house. And we had some good reviews. So I said, let's do it. And remember, they had 3 lots. I think it's like 1,200 acres of trees. And they have like 4 or 5 different styles of trees on this lot, including noble firs. I thought, okay, cool. Let's do that this year. Be fun with the grandson, take some pictures, do all that. So we found Christmas trees there. It was a really good experience. And maybe one of those experiences that we just do for a while until we can locate and figure out the mountains around here a little bit. I know that if I climb higher, I have a feeling that I'm going to be able to find some areas, right? But everything I'm seeing on this side, which I'm now, again, elevation, probably still less than 1,200 feet as high as I'm going, it's just rain soaked. So it's not going to be low. I'm almost guaranteeing that unless I find a pocket someplace. I don't know. But that'll be part of what I do when I move to a new area or I don't know where I'm going to go explore. Part of it is just having that I'm going to try. And that's what we did this weekend. We went out and tried to find the perfect Christmas tree in this lower part of Washington, Pacific Northwest. And we're in the Sound region. I'm more coastal range than I am high altitude mountain range down where we're at. So lesson learned. There are elk and all kinds of animals there. So there's got to be places to go, but we've got to figure it out. So Christmas tree hunt was a lot different. We obviously knew in the Sierra where to go. I have people ask me all the time, where do you get Christmas trees in Sierra? Because Tahoe, I believe this year was closed down again. They're kind of a 2-year hiatus. Alpine County is a great place. Plumas County, Tahoe National Forest, all of them have great Christmas trees. And you really can't beat a $10 permit, right? $10 permit, you get to go out and have a good time with your family, take a little saw out with you. The place I went, I crossed the river, which maybe wasn't the safest thing to do, but I've been doing this, like I said, for years. So you just dress properly. I literally just walk across the river in November. It didn't matter if it was snow or ice to me, but we would always get these beautiful Christmas trees, and it's part of the season for us. It's part of what we do for exploring, right? So that's one of the differences we've seen in our first 30 days in Washington, right? Obviously, we're dealing with rain here. So on a day like today, where they say there's a 50% chance of rain, we haven't had rain this morning. It's actually got some blue sky out with me right now, and I can see the bottom portion of Mount Baker and what I think's kind of the southern edge of the North Cascade National Park. I haven't named all the peaks yet, but you can see that range right in there. And that's where we went out for Christmas tree. And so I can see that from my window here this morning. But by the end of the day, today it'll be raining. We've got like a major a river of moisture coming this week. They're calling for up to 15 feet of snow on Mount Rainier here. And Mount Baker, I haven't looked at the report, but it's always one of the best mountains in the country for snow in the region. And I say that knowing that all my friends in the Sierra are going, you lucky dog, right? Because the Sierra has not seen the storms drop low, and they're setting up for what is going to be a really, really dry December. Now, one thing about ski season in the Sierra, and there's always this great window of November, December. We hope for that early ski season. It's really important for our tourism. It's really important for our communities and growth. But the reality, most snow in the Sierra comes February, March. That's the snow season, and they can get 400 inches of snow between the end of January into March sometimes. I mean, it can dump snow in the Sierra. The ski season is not over in the Sierra. It just didn't start off very well. I have a friend who was already backcountry skiing up at Red Lake, so is snow up there they can play. And some of these guys are hardcore guys. They have boards that they've got stored up that can handle the rocks that they have to hit this time of year. But they're getting up and playing in the mountains. And I'm sure if I had my snowshoes on up there, I would already be up at Red Lake snowshoeing as well. It's a good place to go for early snow season if I was in that region. But like here, I haven't found a snowshoe zone yet. I can't get to the snow quickly and easily. That's the one thing I'm going to miss most. Like I used to be able to hop to Alpine County and the Hope Valley and go snowshoeing anytime I wanted to as soon as the snow fell. Um, and last year, this time I was up in Hope Valley with my friend Tom, and we were up there snowshoeing already in fresh powder and enjoying just cutting our own trails through the meadows and the forest. And I really enjoyed that. So I'm looking forward to figuring that out here. The area where we went to get Christmas tree hunts it goes to a snow park, but the snow level is way up. And so I don't think there's any snow that I can get to within about an hour, maybe an hour and a half if I go around to Belly up to Mount Baker ski area. It's probably the first snow I can reach here, unfortunately, at the moment. So they did close down the highway at North Cascades National Park this week, which was new for me. I hadn't been this part of the country for Christmas season. I didn't know it closed for the winter, so it does close up there. Which I'm glad I got to go up and see, Diablo Lake and Ross Lake, and the recreation area there. That's not part of the North Cascade National Parks. I made a short video last week about the North Cascade National Parks. It ended up being one of the best viewed videos I've ever put out on YouTube. Um, it was quite funny. They're very passionate people here in Washington about their outdoor community. There's a lot of people who talk about mushrooms in the area, and a lot of people who like to get up high in the mountains. I guess there's these things up in Mount Baker area called larches. They're these yellow pine tree. I look forward to seeing those. They look like they're way up there. I was warned that the North Cascades are a very dangerous national park because once you hike into them, it's very steep, dangerous terrain, and they lose a lot of people back there. So hopefully that won't be somebody like me who's been out there a lot, but I'll do my due diligence and do my homework on it. So, but I look forward to exploring that. I also look forward to getting down to Mount Rainier. That's a whole different climate, volcanic region with this big old mountain. Everything's around it. So I look forward to getting down there and seeing trails this year too. And the backpacking permits sound like they're a little harder to get up here, maybe with the Seattle region getting out and outdoors a lot. It's an outdoor community, so everybody gets outdoors. And so it'd be a little interesting how we tell that story. But from my home, it's kind of like living in the Carson Valley. I lived in Carson Valley 18 years. I could see Heavenly Mountain out my window. The Carson Range was there. Alpine County was just a quick hop at the road, and Yosemite was 2 hours south. I could be at Lassen Volcanic National Park in 2.5 hours. So I had all these variables. It's kind of similar to sitting here. I can be at the coast, or what they call the Sound, the Salish Sea, in 20 minutes. I can be in Mount Baker Recreation Area 40 minutes. I could be North Cascade National Park or Ross Lake Recreation Area in 40 minutes, and then hike into North Cascade National Park. I haven't been up to Mount Baker yet. It looks like that's about 35 minutes north of Bellingham, and then maybe an hour into the forest. And that's rough. I haven't driven it yet. So probably about an hour and a half into the Mount Baker zone, which I'll have to go check out as soon as I possibly can. So that's a little different for me as well, just for driving distance and how I explore. I'm sure I'll get to Olympic National Park. It's so close as well, but it looks like I'll go over to an island and I'll take a ferry across. It'd be much quicker that way. And I can already tell from my standpoint, not being a big city guy, going to Seattle is a commitment, and I don't want to go down there as much as possible. So I'll probably head to Bellingham, Vancouver area, up in British Columbia, and try some of the Cascade ranges up that way. So that's kind of where I'm at. Some of the other differences that I've seen already from a perspective of the Sierra and the Pacific Northwest and the Cascades, the mountains, they're all treed here, right? You see the scars of logging. It reminds me of the Oregon Cascade. So you see, patches where they've clear cut. They've got these old growth tree grows right next to them. So there's a lot of that, which I didn't see in the Sierra because obviously it's all rock, or the logging was a long time ago. So that's a lot different. I haven't found the fire damage here yet. And Washington has been hit just like Oregon with a ton of fire, and the Sierra, tons of fire in the last several years. I personally have not seen that yet. I'm sure I will. And then the next thing I've noticed is the color of water. This is a lot of glacial fed water up here, or rainwater coming off these mountains. There's waterfalls everywhere. Someone told me last week that's why they call it Cascades. I grew up in Oregon Cascades. I had never heard that before. It's very possible that is why they're called the Cascades, is because there's so much water. Maybe that's a local myth as well. I don't know. But like if you go, Diablo Lake is one of the first lakes I went up to, is Diablo Lake in the Ross Lake recreational area. And it's got this emerald green kind of hue to it. all the water up there. There was 3 lakes on the way up, and Ross Lake same way. They all kind of have this emerald green hue to it. That's a lot from the minerals of the glaciers coming down and stuff. It's very pretty. It's got a forest coming right down to the lake level, which is great. That's a whole lot different than Lake Tahoe, right? Lake Tahoe has got this crystal blue, clean, hue to it. The sun's reflecting off the water. And trees come down, and they're different trees, but that's a whole different hue to it. I will tell you though, I was out in the Mount Baker recreation area last weekend. I went out and had a beautiful weekend. You did my first hike, did several hikes a couple miles in just to see what the trails were like. And there's a river that goes in the backside of Baker Lake. Um, and forgive me for not all of a sudden going mind blank about what the name of it's called. Maybe anyways, there's a river comes in. It may be the clearest water I've ever seen in a river. It was strictly glacial fed, um, just clarity, had this like rock pebble bottom to it. It's really, really, really pretty area. Matter of fact, I actually have, let me share my screen here. I've actually got um, a couple photos up here so I can share with you. This is one of the first trails I walked on. Trails here are very interesting. Just kind of sidetrack here. The trails have all got this little rock, clay, dirt kind of feel to them. They're all well traveled, which tells me I'm here in the off season. I barely see anybody on these trails, but I'll bet you the summertime there are lots of people on these trails. So this is up behind Baker Lake. It was a very pretty hike. Baker Lake South is where we're at. Matter of fact, this is the recreation area up there. I wanted to show you that river. This was a picture across Baker Lake. This range here, if I'm not mistaken, is in North Cascades National Park. Again, I haven't memorized my peaks yet, but I do believe that Mount Baker is actually over here to the left, far side. But I do believe this range is actually in the national park itself. Um, Very pretty mountain itself. The river is at the end of this valley, and it goes back into the park or the edge of the park. And Mount Baker again's over on the far left, so it goes up this valley. You can't tell the clarity by that picture. Let's see if I can find one here for you real quick. Um, that you almost see the clarity there. It's Tahoe-esque in clarity, if not clearer than Tahoe. It's obviously very shallow, so you're not going to see all that. But it has this bridge that goes across. Um, yeah, and this water it was so pretty in there. Maybe it's because sun shines out. We don't get a lot of sunny days here, so you go out and you explore when you have a chance. So Mount Baker is all up there. You can see the forest there. It's got lots of different types of trees in here. Really pines, oaks, cherry, all that is part of it. This is another river. This is a different river that came out of Mount Baker directly. So the one thing I missed here is like there should be a trail right here, right? Anywhere in this forest. I didn't find a trail anywhere in here. It's like it seems to be like the access point for trails is only in certain areas, and areas that like this would beg for a trail. You get up there, it's missing. And I know you could have a trail anywhere, but that's kind of where I was looking at. But that kind of gives you an idea of the region that I'm exploring, and we're running around. So that's a big difference of what this looks like compared to this year. The trail community up here so far, very vocal community, very engaged. I really appreciate that from you. If you're up here in Washington, you're very commented on my North Cascades National Parks and some of the things maybe I said that were a little bit misleading or a little bit off track. Thanks for correcting me and being polite. That was really nice to have an engaged community on that. The trails really are kind of fascinating. You're walking through, and I was used to Sierra where we could hop off on the rocks and go kind of scramble and do things. There's so much fern and deadwood and moss covered trees. It's pretty dangerous actually a little bit to step off. I'm sure I'll do a little bit of that. I'm too much of a go explore this canyon type guy, but I got to be a little safe also. So we've be working on that. But yeah, so I do enjoy the community up here. They seem to be passionate about that, and I'll be enjoying to learn my Pacific Northwest voice, if you will, as I become a hiker and backpacker. And I try the Cascade Range up here and learn. One of the things I'm thinking about a lot is you guys all know is I'm a hammock camper, right? So I backpack in with my hammock. I hang the hammock in a tarp and an underquilt, and that's a lot of water, right? So I gotta figure this out, how high I have to get into a zone where I'm gonna feel safe without getting soaking wet in my hammock. And I usually do have a tarp over top, but to be honest with you, I've never had a rainstorm with my tarp and slept under it. In the Sierra, I just didn't run into it, right? I would run into rain during the day, but not when I was sleeping. And I think I had my hammock up one time where it rained for just a moment up in the Vogelsang area. And we threw all the sleeping bags under the tarp, but the hammock, it was big enough that it covered the hammock. So I was okay, but I didn't have to sleep through it. It was like a 20-minute storm. Here, the water is falling all the time. So if I want to go outdoors, I'm going to have to get used to it. I don't know what summers are like. Maybe they're a lot drier, and I don't have to worry about that. But that's one of the things I'm anxious to kind of see where that goes for me. Maybe I have to get back in the tents, and my whole body's going to hurt. But you know all how much I love my hammock. There's plenty of trees, obviously. It's about finding those locations where you can hang that hammock, put a tarp up, get something underneath the hammock to step on so it's not muddy. And then what do I do with my backpack and everything, which usually just sat on the ground in the Sierra here? I've got to figure out some different systems. So we'll be doing that as well. And that's what I've learned so far, right? It's a big area. Some of the names are hard to pronounce. There's a lot of Indian names up here, or names that just, Chuckanut Drive, right? It's like, that's an interesting name, but that's what it's called. But Mount Baker's pretty easy, right? So we'll learn this system up here. We're having a good time telling stories. And as we join this Authentic Mountain Network, which we're going to give you some more details about that here as the year comes up. Stay tuned as we start to expand our coverage from the Sierra to the North Cascades, keeping the channels having their own unique voices. There will be more Sierra interviews coming up here in the Sierra. And before I finish today, here's what I want to leave with. Knowing that the snow really hasn't fallen yet in the Sierra, what would I be doing if I lived in the Carson Valley today, or if I lived near the Sierra? What would be the recreational tips I'd have here for December as you're heading into Christmas? I wasn't a skier, so I wasn't chasing ski slopes, but I was a snowshoer, and so I would definitely be heading up towards Red Lake with my snowshoes, and I'd be snowshoeing up there if I could. They're usually a great little route around the back of the lake, and that almost always has snow. If there was no snow, and I saw this weekend that Sonora Pass and Ebbets Pass opened back up, I'd be definitely heading up those passes to a snowbank and hoping I could find parking in an area that was abundant enough for my truck, and I'd be snowshoeing there because snowshoeing is definitely something I would want to take advantage of at this time of season up there. If it's completely dry and there's no snow, and you are definitely hiking, great fall perspective to it. Lundy Canyon right now would be a beautiful spot to get back into, as well would Twin Lakes be in Bridgeport. So that would be great. If I could go up Ebbets Pass, I would go up just past Mosquito Lakes. There's a trail into Bear Lake that would be fun to try to explore this time of year. Probably can't get back in there, but if you could get back into Carson Iceberg Wilderness in Wolf Creek, that would be a beautiful hike this time of year. In seasonality too, you'd probably see a mixture of temperatures back there. It'd be really pretty. Desolation Wilderness would also be high on the list, going up out of Lake Tahoe behind Emerald Bay there, and getting back into Dix Lake or the Velmas, any of that area. If there's no snowfall, that's an opportunity that you just can't miss, right? Now, reality is there's probably a little bit of snow and ice there, so it's also very dangerous in Desolation Wilderness, well, like granite. So following up some of the waterfalls might be really difficult this time of year. And then if I was to head north out of Truckee, there's all kinds of lakes trails just north of Truckee. So just get up in the Truckee area, Plumas County north. Gray Eagle. Gray Eagle is a fantastic time right now because the crowds are gone and the trail system to Bear Lake and Long Lake and all that stuff, no one's on them. There's a little bit of snow probably in the mountains, but you can travel all throughout the area easily on a day hike. Nice parking up there in the wintertime and not too difficult to get to. So those are areas I'd be looking at. Obviously, if Yosemite was open on the east side, I'd be going up into there as well. I haven't spent a lot of time in Mammoth in the wintertime. I'm sure there's a bazillion things to do down there. Snowmobile tours aren't going to be running because there's no snow yet. So the Obsidian Dome area in Mammoth would be a really cool visit right now. As well as if you go around Mono Lake, go out to the Black Chasms. Around the north side of Mono Lake, the chasms there would be really cool to go explore this time of year. So hope that helps you as you're getting that ready for your recreation with family this Christmas in the Sierra. We hope to have some interviews coming up here. We're in talks right now trying to get things on the calendar, so we'll get back to our interviews and stuff, but we'll continue to add our personal insights until then. Hope you have a great day wherever you're at. Drive safe and be blessed this week. Thanks for joining us.